Yo, what's up, guys? It's Dom, and you're tuning in to Talks with Dom, where we touch on a series of topics that dives into the creator within. Over time, the goal is to help each and every one of you partaking in this transformation to better understand who and where you are on your journey. So let's chop it up, guys. Right, we're on to point 19, the search beneath the answer. This is going to be basically like a not the same, but in that same lane as the last one. Right. Basically going not just a tad bit deeper into that, but just kind of adding just more points to that, right? Once the creative realizes their explanation is incomplete, discovery requires them to look beyond the answer they've already have been given, right? As we said in the last video, right? You're always going to figure out where certain beliefs, fears, expectations, and certain perspectives that we have on ourselves, to where that truth that we feel is truth to us, where there's incompletion, right? Where there's open spaces, right? To be able to question, to be able to dig a little deeper, right? The first answer usually explains the surface. I procrastinate because I'm lazy, right? It's just something that's just going to be able to stick, right? I procrastinate because I'm lazy. It just is what it is. When in our reality, it could be something that's deeper than just that, right? I need validation because I care what people think, right? That's something that a lot of people, a lot of creatives themselves aren't going to admit, right? And then there's some that can actually admit to that as creatives, right? We feel we want people to love the things that we do. We want people to think that what we put out is dope. You know what I mean? We want people to think that we're dope creatives, right? Leaving us to kind of need that validation as a crutch to help us to stay solid as a creative. But hopefully that's not the end of the truth, right? Hopefully that's not the end of, or that's not the period of the truth, right? Hopefully that continues to go, or hopefully you're able to come back to be like, hold on, well, actually, this is truly what that is. This is truly what that means, right? And can add on to that. I stopped creating because I lost motivation, right? As I said in the last video, there's always going to be things in our lives that happen on the day to day, rather big or small, rather it's chaotic, rather it's calm, right? It's always going to be something to where it should give you some sort of idea about something that you can create, something that you could express yourself about, right? Whether the motivation is the highest or rather it's just a tad bit, right? A mustard seed, as tiny as a mustard seed, could be that thing that helps you to create what you're trying to get across, right? But discovery begins when the creative acts, is that actually the source or is that just what I've learned to call it, right? The first answer, the creative has an explanation that makes the experience understandable. Let's say that again. The creative has an explanation that makes the experience understandable. We talked about this one before too, of wanting the people to perceive what we create in a way to be able to truly understand it, right? But in a sense, the art is not always like the point of the art is not always for everyone to just understand fully what is being expressed, right? So understandable doesn't mean understood, right? It still could be questions. It still could be like, oh, okay, well, how come that is like that, right? Oh, this is like this because of this. It may be, you know what I mean, took in a different way, but at the same time, it's still intriguing. It still helped the audience or whoever's paying attention to that creation to interpret in a certain way, right? The deeper question, instead of accepting the explanation, they start asking what sits underneath it. Why does this matter to me? What is this really connected to? right? These are questions that are going to help that shovel go just a tad bit deeper. Like you're like, okay, wait a second. I hit a box right here. There's like a box right there. Let me dig around it and everything to see what kind of box is right here or what's actually inside of this box, right? Just going, just being able to ask the next question, right? Come up with the next idea that can help us to understand the statement, right? The question moves from the behavior to the relationship between the behavior, beneath the behavior. Let me say that one more time. The question moves from the behavior to the relationship beneath the behavior. We're going into the search changes. Now the creative isn't searching for confirmation. They're searching for what they couldn't see before, right? That requires curiosity strong enough to follow something even when it challenges their original understanding. Always being able to go into something, right? As that says, that requires curiosity strong enough to follow something even when it challenges their original understanding, right? You're searching for something. You thought that it meant one thing, right? But digging more, you start to see, oh, it was actually about this. It was actually saying this right here. But even if that's not the full understanding, still being able to continue to walk, go down to see where that thing could lead you, right? Isn't always a bad thing, right? Sometimes it could lead to what could help that endurance to get you that extra mile, get you that extra 2 miles, right? The creative becomes the investigator. This is where something important changes. The creative isn't simply experiencing their inner world anymore. They're studying it, right? Their reactions become information. Their patterns become clues. Their contradictions become places to look. All of these things. Their reactions become information. Their patterns become clues. Their contradictions become places to look. All of these things are just data. All of these things are just a web of information for yourself, about yourself, right? For you to have questions for you to have spaces to truly conversate about, right? Or truly sit and meditate on. Not to be able to 100% understand, but in a way have a different perspective on it and be more accepting to what that thing is, right? Discovery begins to deepen when the creative stops searching for answers that explain the surface and starts following questions that lead underneath it, right? So really more of just kind of like a sidekick to the last video, but just understanding more deeper into that, right? Of how that next question, right, is always that thing that could expand the way you see creativity within itself, the way you look at yourself when you believe that the way that you think, the way that you see things, the way that like what you fear, right? How do you feel about yourself whenever you think that that is complete, right? Those truths that you attach to yourself are complete, right? When in our reality, going through these things, asking yourself these things, or talking about these things, right? You start to see how a lot of these things have a bunch of open spaces, right? A lot of these things are well incomplete. So being able to talk about that, being able to dig into that, being able to ask that question, being able to continue to step even without 100% knowing, right, where that could lead to, right? That's only unlocking doors for you, right? And not bad doors, good doors, because of understanding that you're gaining ground on the creative on the inside. You're gaining ground of self, right? So understanding yourself better is not in a sense of leading yourself down bad paths, right? Understanding yourself better is only going to be able to lead you down good paths, because now you understand the parameters, how to expand that, right? Now you understand why certain things need to happen in a certain way sometimes, right? You understand why your creativity goes like this instead of like this right here. However you want to look at that, like you understand why your creativity does what it does, right? And being able to shift that from one thing to another. Only way that that happens is by broadening that perspective on self, on the creative, right? And so, yeah, just looking into that though, guys, and just seeing what that does for you, right? If these points that you've been hearing so far, right, been things that been able to align with you, if even if it's only been 1 or 2 points that you feel like has aligned or that hit home for you, drop it in the comments, right? Continue to let me know what's some things that I can work on when it comes to talking about these points. Is there something that you feel like that I'm leaving out, or something that I can put in, right? Do you feel like that certain videos are can be just a tad bit long when trying to discuss a certain point, or do you feel like sometimes that we should just have a chop it up session? We should just chop it up, right? Maybe that should be like a tad bit longer, right? Let me know just as we're going, because like I said before, this is a long journey. This is a longevity ride. I'm here. I'm here until time. And so we're continuing to drop. We're continuing to touch on more points, right? As a creative myself, right? I'm only starting, right? So this is going to keep going and going. And these videos are only going to get better. And so as we're having this conversation, hopefully it can go from just a couple people into a whole stadium of people being able to talk about this, right, and expanding throughout the whole world, right, of how we can have a big movement, being able to understand and identify the creative that's on the inside of us, right? So yeah, let's continue to go. Let's continue to step. Let's continue to act. Let's continue to test and see where that leads you, right? And let's just continue to go, right? As we're going to my presentation of how I'm breaking down these points are only going to get better. So just continue to ride with me. You know what I mean? Continue to rock with me, and as hopefully as I'm getting better and stuff like that, you start to see yourself getting better, and we can just get better as a whole, right? And yeah, man, we change lives out here, man. You know what I mean? We tap into other creatives out here, right, that are having these same challenges within life, because in a sense, guys, this is like way deeper than creativity itself. If you really want to like if we really want to have that conversation, this is truly deeper than that. It's just more about like life itself, right? And you being able to better understand yourself, right, through the destiny that's within yourself, and through diving in, through aligning, through being able to accept, through being through only being able to be the person that you are today, right? And if you feel like that's a person that that could be better, if you feel like that's a person that you don't truly understand just yet, right? That's the journey right there. Right now we're jumping in, right, and being a creative, that only helps that much more, right? Because you creating, in a sense, it's more than just content. It's more than just painting. It's more than just a way that you express it. However you express it is more than just that, right? You're truly showing the people yourself, right? The things that you put out are a representation of who you are as a creative. And so, let's just continue to go, guys, into the next one.